If you feel like meal planning and prepping is too overwhelming because you never know what to make, stick around because today I'm going to share with you a simple formula that makes planning healthy meals super easy. And it's just as simple as planning your outfit for Saturday night. What's up? I'm Melanie Ash of MelanieAshFitness.com and Fitness Evolution Personal Training Studio here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm a personal trainer, a fitness nutrition specialist, a weight management specialist, and a women's wellness enthusiast. And you probably already know this, but if you don't, I'm going to tell you that meal planning and prepping is absolutely key to not only successful weight loss, but it's pretty important for just an overall healthy lifestyle. And that is because the more you can control what you're eating, the more you plan ahead, the more readily available you have healthy, nutrient-dense foods, the better you're going to eat and the less likely you are to make either poor decisions or to overeat or to end up at the end of the day starving and out of willpower and ordering a pizza. Meal planning and prepping is your fail-safe that keeps you on track with eating when you're super busy or when you're just too darn tired to think about it. So I recommend it for everyone, whether you're trying to lose weight or just be healthy. However, one of the things that I'm often told when I recommend meal planning to people is that they struggle with either knowing what to make or coming up with ideas. And I'll get asked a lot of times for recipes. And the truth is, I've been meal planning and prepping all of my meals for the entire week for years. And I don't use recipes. I'm not really that much of a chef. I don't like to pull out things and have complicated lists of ingredients. In fact, if I look at something on Pinterest and it has more than 7 or 8 ingredients and steps, I'm usually out. I like to keep it super simple. And the good news is you can too. And really all you need to know is this simple formula that anyone can use that breaks it down into 4 simple steps, and you can plan an infinite number of combinations for healthy meals. And before I share with you how this applies to meal prep, I want to give you an analogy to help this stay in your mind so you never forget it. I'm going to tell you how this simple formula for meal planning and prepping is just like planning the perfect outfit. So if you're a lady, or maybe even you gentlemen who are very fashion conscious, you know that when you have an event, maybe you have a dinner date on Friday night, maybe you have a party to go to on Saturday, oftentimes we will spend a little bit of time planning what we're going to wear. And inevitably we go into the bedroom, we open the closet, and we survey all of the clothing options that we have. And typically you'll start with one thing, right? There's that pair of jeans that you look fantastic in, or maybe it's a new skirt that you really just purchased and you can't wait to wear. So you start with that one foundational piece, and typically we're going to build our outfit around this one piece, right? So you pull out those jeans that you look awesome in and you think, okay, what top can I wear with these jeans? You'll take into consideration what the weather's going to be like or the event and so on. And from your closet, you'll select a top and you'll see if it goes well with these jeans. And if it does, you move on probably to your shoes. What shoes do we like? So then we're going to pick a pair of shoes. From there, now that we have our top and our jeans and our shoes, we're going to add our jewelry, our little bit of extra accentuation onto that outfit. And here we have now a perfect outfit. And how did you do that? You broke that down piece by piece. You needed something to wear on the bottom, so you need pants or a skirt. You need a top to wear. You're going to need shoes, and then you need your accessories, right? Your handbag, your jewelry. Pretty easy. We know how to plan an outfit. We know we've got to cover the basics, right? Meal planning is no different, and I want you to apply this exact same way of thinking to your meal planning. And I'm going to give you this very simple formula that you can use to plan any kind of a healthy meal from start to finish, and the combinations are endless. So step number 1 is to pick a protein. And I have you start with protein because A, many of us don't eat enough protein. B, protein is essential, especially for weight loss. It's going to be your most important macronutrient. And thirdly, protein is something that is not as easily accessible. Proteins usually need to be cooked in some way is basically what it is. So if you have chicken, you can't eat raw chicken. So I want you to start with a protein. What's a protein that you like? So if we're planning our lunches for next week, What's a protein that I can prepare, that I like to eat, that I can have for lunch? For this example, I'm going to go with chicken. Okay, we've selected our chicken. Now I want you, step 2, is to pick a vegetable. Why? Because most of us don't even eat enough vegetables, and if we don't think about it, we're going to go to the things that we like to eat. We're going to jump ahead to step 3, which is our carbs, or we're going to have fruit, or we're going to not have vegetables at all. So step number 2 is to pick a vegetable to make sure that that vegetable happens. If you plan for it, it'll happen. So you're going to stop and think, okay, what's a good vegetable that I can prep in advance that goes with chicken that I like? For this example, we're going to select green beans. Chicken and green beans. Awesome. We need a little bit more to be satiated with that analogy. And by all means, you may pick 2 vegetables, you may pick 3. If that's what you want to do, I highly recommend it, but at least pick 1. Now we're going to move on to step 3, which is our carbohydrate. Yes, you should be eating carbohydrate. How much depends on a lot of different factors, and maybe not everyone will incorporate very much carbohydrate, but you should have some, especially at lunchtime. You're going to need that energy to get through the rest of your day. But we want to pick a healthy carbohydrate. So we're going to be selecting a carbohydrate like rice, or sweet potato, or white potato, or quinoa. Even oats are a fantastic source of carbohydrate. Butternut squash. So you have all these options. So we're going to pick a carbohydrate that we enjoy that goes well with chicken and green beans. I obviously go to a sweet potato. I think those 3 things go really well together. So now I've selected sweet potato. Final, step 4 is to pick a healthy fat. We've got to have our healthy fats. Most of us don't get enough. A real easy way to add a healthy fat to any meal is coconut oil or olive oil. They don't add a lot of volume, but they add a good amount of calories, and they add those good healthy fats we're looking for. So I'm going to go with olive oil. So here I have no recipe, but I have selected chicken, green beans, sweet potato, and olive oil. So in order to make this meal for all of my lunches for the next week, I'm going to buy enough chicken breast. I'm going to buy probably 2 to 3 sweet potatoes. I'm going to buy a bag of green beans, and I have olive oil in the cabinet, right? So then on a Sunday, I would take my chicken breasts, and I'm either going to throw them in the crock pot or throw them on the grill. Then I'm going to take my sweet potatoes and cut them in half so that I have 5. So again, if I bought 3, then I'll have 6. Great, I have an extra one for the weekend. Cut them in half because I'm going to eat a half at each serving. I'm going to wrap them in foil. I'm going to toss them in the oven, or I'm going to toss them on the grill with the chicken. I'm going to steam that big bag of green beans, and most of the time you can just poke holes in it with a fork and throw it in the microwave. You don't even have to get fancy. And then I have my olive oil ready. Once everything is cooked and hot, I'm going to let it cool. I'm going to take 5 Tupperware containers. I'm going to portion out about 3 to 3.5 ounces of chicken in each one. I'm going to take my half a sweet potato and put it in each one. Then I'm going to take my green beans and divide them into 5 even portions across those 5 Tupperware. I'm going to drizzle my little bit of olive oil on, pack them up, put them in the fridge, done. Lunch for the entire week. I didn't need a recipe. I could have added little spices here and there if I wanted to. Some people really require that. I'm not super picky, so I might use salt and pepper. But if you want garlic powder, anything you want to add, you can add on from there. But there you can see that I have just taken that simple step-by-step formula and planned a meal for my lunches for an entire week that didn't take that much time to prep. And then I could move on to dinner. So say for dinner, my protein is beef, and my vegetable is Brussels sprouts, and my carbohydrate is rice, and my healthy fat could be avocado. Boom! Make the meat, make the Brussels sprouts, roast them in the oven, make the rice on the stove, and then I could have the avocado ready and bought and ready to slice up. And that I would just slice up when I heated up the rest of the food for dinner. So you see how you can have endless combinations just by using this very simple formula that's just as if you were planning that perfect outfit for a night out on Saturday. Now you're planning the perfect meal, and you don't even need a recipe. So to go over that one more time, step 1 was to pick a protein. Step 2 was to pick a veggie or 2. Step 3 is to pick a good, healthy carbohydrate. And step 4 is to select a healthy fat. And the combinations are endless. So I hope that was helpful. I know oftentimes we feel a little overwhelmed by meal planning and prepping. And the one thing I hear most is that you guys need ideas and you're just not sure what to make. You don't need anybody to tell you the fancy ideas. You just need that simple formula, and you need to know what you like. And you need to put a little bit of time into cooking it ahead of time so that it's there for you and ready to go. If you have questions, I'm here. I'd love to answer any questions. What's your biggest struggle when it comes to meal prep? Type it in the comments right there. Let me know. What is your biggest struggle? Do you meal plan and prep every week? Have you ever? If you have, what were the things that maybe held you back or you found frustrating? If you haven't, why not? Is there something about it maybe you've never tried? Maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it, or maybe you as well have struggled with coming up with some ideas. I'd love to offer some help and guidance if that's something you're struggling with. But let me tell you, meal planning and prepping, once you get into a rhythm, it's going to take away all of the decisions that you have to make during the week, because your food is there and it's ready to go and you just don't have to think about it. And it's one less thing to deal with when you come home and you're tired and you had a long day and you've got to get the kids ready for bed. Your dinner's already there and all you have to do is heat it up. That's the way to do it. So I highly recommend meal planning and prepping, and I'm going to be sending out some emails all month long for you guys, offering some more of my tips for meal planning and prepping. I see a few people popping in and saying hello, including Christina and Bonnie, who are in my free Fall Back to Fitness 30-day challenge. They have been killing it. You guys are doing awesome. Challengers have pledged to be accountable for the month of September to get themselves back on track with their diet and exercise routine. It's been really fun watching everybody take on that challenge and making some good progress here. So I'm excited and pumped up about that. You can still get in on it if you're interested. MelanieAshFitness.com/fallbacktofitness. And join. It's not too late, even though it's almost the middle of September, if you guys can believe that. Kind of crazy, isn't it? All right. Hi, Tina. Tina's in Greenville, South Carolina. Well, hello, Tina. I hope that you guys aren't getting too bad of weather. I know that the hurricane's moving up that way. I had a client who was supposed to be in Myrtle Beach this week who canceled her vacation because of the hurricane. So Tina, sending prayers, hoping that you're safe and that things aren't too bad over there in South Carolina. It is lovely here today in Columbus, but I know that rain is moving northward, and so anybody around who is down there, down south in Florida, Georgia, or the Carolinas, we're sending thoughts and prayers to you guys. Hang in there. Hopefully this thing is starting to weaken and it's getting a little bit better. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. So that's all that I have for you guys today. I don't have any questions about meal planning and prepping. Don't hesitate if you watch this on the replay and you have some questions. Pop in there and let me know what's your biggest struggle related to meal planning and prepping. I'd love to help. I'm always trying to offer you guys suggestions whenever I possibly can. And try out that formula. Don't worry about recipes. Pick your protein. Pick a veggie. Just wind and rain, Tina says. Pick a protein, pick a veggie, pick a carb, pick a fat. And what I love about this formula too is just like, you know, when you go to your closet, you can't find anything to wear and it's time to go shopping. Same thing with meal planning and prepping. Maybe you've gotten bored with the things you've been meal planning and prepping. That's when it's time to try out a new food or mix up your combos to keep things interesting. There's always different things that you can try. You know, and sometimes people say, well, what if I don't feel like eating that? And I say, well, there's always going to be days when we'd rather have a donut. But we're adults. We can't always have the donut. Maybe every once in a while. But plan those meals ahead of time. Get those healthy things like your proteins, your veggies in, and every now and then make a little room for something you like that's really worth it. Thank you for being there. Good luck. Hope you have a great, wonderful week. Take care. Talk soon.